practice right now. The lighting is really nice this morning. Thanks for noticing, kid. Well, I hope you get to practice sometime soon. Oh, bagel. I was like, made me angels. Is that like a food I don't know about? Is it an East Coast thing? But bagels are kind of an East Coast thing. You have a very good girlfriend. Guys, it's Friday. It's the last stream of the week. Nothing wrong with a single turn up. 5 years. I guess that's not too bad. In the grand, I mean, in the big picture, 5 years probably isn't that long of a time to wait or to work for something. Sometimes waiting for something can feel like working for something. Thundercat concert where? Where are you guys? Denver. This song is called Over the Pond. Sorry, I saw something weird. What kind of piano do you have? Are you talking to me? Have you worked with Stevie or would you? Musically, I have not worked with Stevie. Would I? It depends on the circumstance. that song's called Flight Plan. Or at least that was a version of Flight Plan. Oh, Super Kim is here. Welcome. I listened to Ego Death most yesterday, and it was really perfect walking in the rain kind of music. Oh, how ironic, since it almost never rains here in Los Angeles. I was talking to a friend of mine. By the way, thank you for listening to Ego Death. I do appreciate that. But I was talking to a friend of mine, or a neighbor, a friend's neighbor of mine, who happens to have heard most of my music, about Ego Death yesterday. And we were talking about summer records versus winter records, and how everybody kind of jumped on Kate Renata, saying Kate Renata released a summer record in the winter, and that's, not a good thing. It's really hard. It's tough because typically I do the same thing. Typically my summer records come out in the winter, and my winter records come out in the summer. And the reason for that is because it takes me, I'm in the mood to write summer music when it's summer. When the sun's out, when the heat's blaring, when I'm going to the beach, when the parties are popping, that's when I'm writing my summer records. When I'm writing my winter records, it's in the winter, when it's cold and nobody's really going out, everybody's leaving LA because hardly anybody has family here. And the problem is, when I write music, usually I don't like to wait a full 12 to 15 months before I put it out, so it just doesn't add up. I'll write a record in the summer and then I'll release it in the winter. I'll write a record in the winter and then I'll release it in the summer. I'm always releasing things outside of the seasonal mood in which they're supposed to be released in. But Ego Death was released, it was released in the summer. I could have waited and released it, this week, and it maybe would have been more topical, I guess. Anyways, thank you for listening to Ego Death. I appreciate you. And anybody in the stream who listened to Ego Death, I worked really hard on that. I worked really hard on that record. And I also used a lot of my newer gear in order to write it. There's a lot of Yamaha Reface CP in that record. There's also a lot of micro Korg in it. A lot of the vocals are micro Korg vocals. Somebody actually pointed out that they knew that already. It was like, it wasn't news to them. Like they can hear the difference between regularly processed vocoder and microchord vocoder. Good ear on them, I guess. Good ear. But you like the rain, so that's good for a mood. I'll be honest. I only liked the rain, or I thought I liked the rain, because I grew up in Arizona. Sometimes change is good. Sometimes you just like change. You don't necessarily like the thing you're given, you just like that it's different from what you've been given for a long time. And so I think in Arizona I liked the rain just because it was rare and it was so hot there that when the rain came it was nice. Going someplace where it rains pretty often is kind of a drag for me. A little bit of a drag. Open Up and Left Behind were your favorites off of Ego Death. Let me think about those two. Open Up and Left Behind. Yeah, Open Up. Open Up was a vocal melody before it was a song. I actually wrote the lyrics to that. I think I was in the car or on the subway. I knew I wanted that vocal melody, but I wasn't exactly sure what the chords would be. Yeah, that was a vocal melody before it was anything else. And then I ended up just building the chords around it, the chords that you hear in the song. That's for Open Up. Left Behind. I can't hear Left Behind in my head. Give me a second. Ooh, did it help your day? Listening to that on a tiring day, tired day. Oh, I'm glad. I think a lot of people ask that. A lot of people ask for one piece of advice. Persistence. Persistence and perspective, I guess. I know those sound very vague, but if you're asking for just one piece of advice, I mean, you're asking for one piece of advice about a very complicated and vast thing, right? And I don't know you personally. I don't even know what you're trying to do with music. But I can say that something that works across the board is persistence and perspective, right? If you lose persistence, you probably aren't going to improve at the rate that you want to, regardless of what you're doing. Maybe you're just playing keyboard once a day, and then you don't play for a few weeks. You're probably going to lose some of that grip that you had. Maybe you don't play for a few months. You're probably going to lose some of that skill that you had. Persistence is key. I've been streaming almost every day for how many years now? So it helps. Persistence. Also, perspective is important. In any art form or trade, you're probably going to be seeing a lot of other people doing the same thing, either better than you or worse than you. And sometimes it's important to maintain a little bit of perspective and removal, maybe, from the people that you're looking at, right? If you're looking at me play piano, you have no idea what my story in playing piano is, and my life in playing piano. All you know is that maybe I'm better than you by somebody's definition or standard right now. Try to maintain perspective. I'm no better at piano than anybody else. You have goals, right? Try to achieve your goals. Me and you are going to have two very, very different goals. I'm sure we do right now. And if you can try to maintain that perspective, especially in art, especially in like a competitive field where everybody's trying to one-up each other, it can be important to remember that people have different goals. Nobody can really beat you because they're not running in the same direction you are. So if you can keep that in mind and also stay persistent, keep playing or keep studying or keep reading. I don't know what your path is, but I guarantee you that if you lack persistence, you're probably going to lack progress. That is the one piece of kind of verbose advice I could give to somebody that was just starting. Piano or guitar or skateboarding or basketball, pretty much anything that requires any type of skill, development of skill. We're at the half-minute mark. Half-minute? We're at the halfway mark, the 30-minute mark. I'm gonna now play Into Thin Air. You know, I posted a video to my Instagram yesterday and like my Instagram story. And it was just a video that I found on my phone. Sometimes when I haven't done anything interesting in a while, I'll just look for like old videos that I've recorded. Or like old pictures that I took. Maybe I went to Disneyland 5 months ago and I'm like, life's been pretty boring. I guess I'll post this picture of Disneyland again so people don't think I'm dead. Anyways, I posted a video of myself playing piano out in public, outside of a coffee shop. And what was wild about it wasn't that I was better or worse in that video than I am now. It was that I was playing a song that I completely forgot. It was new to me. And you can tell that I used to play it a lot because I was very good at playing this particular song I made. And I think I'm going to have to relearn this song just based off the video. That happens to me so often because I'm constantly making songs for the stream and not necessarily recording and releasing them, so they get kind of lost in my head somewhere. So I gotta remember that one, which is one of the main reasons why I play a lot of the same songs in the stream. I'm honestly just trying not to forget them. I don't know how to read and write music for the person talking about writing down the music I've created. Has nothing to do with piano, Kanto, but welcome to the stream. It doesn't have to... can't read or write music doesn't mean that it has to be improvisation. Those two things aren't related. They're mutually exclusive. Somebody can make up a song with their hands and in their head and not know how to read or write. In the same way that people can learn how to speak a language without learning how to write that language. Oh, new to the music world. What are you playing? Or are you the person that asked about getting into piano? Well, something to remember is that playing piano is not hard or easy. It's nothing. It's relative, right? So exactly what you're trying to do. Maybe you're trying to play a specific song that's difficult. Maybe you're trying to play a specific style that is challenging for you. It's just an instrument. A lot of people will say, Omni, how many instruments can you play? And I just say I can play every instrument because being able to play an instrument is simply being able to pick it up and make a sound come out of it, right? Now, if somebody said, Omni, how many instruments can you play Mary Had a Little Lamb on? I'd say, I don't know, 5. If somebody handed me bagpipes, I would not be able to play Mary Had a Little Lamb on bagpipes. I've never even touched a bagpipe. I don't even know if I've ever been in spitting distance of a bagpipe. But learning how to play something is kind of simple. For example, a lot of people have an entry or an introduction to an instrument via playing other people's music. Maybe they're trying to learn how to play Beethoven or whatever. Well, sometimes that can be difficult, right? Taking something that somebody else made and playing it through your own hands, playing it like kind of voicing it through yourself. Sometimes that can be hard if the words aren't yours. For me, I don't really play other people's music, so playing piano is easier for me because all the stuff that I play comes from inside my head. It comes from my hands. And if I'm playing, I don't know, Spring Street, and I mess up, it's okay because it's my song. I can take it anywhere I want it to go, so it becomes easier. Maybe playing other people's music gets harder. Maybe having stricter guidelines like reading and writing would make music a little bit more challenging because there are rules. The way that I play piano, there simply aren't any rules, so it's a lot easier to play and maybe learn. It's less daunting, that's for sure, than the people that have a more classical introduction into piano. But you're starting with piano, which is a good instrument to start with. A lot of people say that. I say it's a good instrument to start with because it's polyphonic and it's also very cheap. It's a very cheap entry, right? If you're trying to learn how to play piano, you can get a keyboard for very little money. If you're trying to have an introduction into music by learning upright bass, it's not going to be as cheap. You're not going to go to Goodwill and find an upright bass in the back corner, where you can find a keyboard basically anywhere. So I would say that starting with piano is just a low, easy, user-friendly point of entry. Guitar is probably right there, very similar, but I think that piano has more transferable skills than guitar, but I won't get into that. This song is called Into Thin Air. I didn't really finish it, did I? Wait. Yeah, I did. Wow. I played Into Thin Air while I was talking, so I completely forgot that I played it. My bad. I want to play Spring Street, because Spring Street has a new bridge now. Spring Street has a new bridge now. What about electric keyboard versus acoustic piano? I'm glad you like this song. never played it. I don't know why that was. In terms of me practicing, I still don't understand your question, Content. Electric keyboard versus piano in terms of you practicing. What is the question? What do you think of the differences? What do I think of the difference? What do I think the differences are? I'm sorry. I'm still having trouble. What do I think the differences are between electronic piano and acoustic piano? Are you asking me if I have a preference? What are you asking exactly? What I think of the differences? I think they are different. What do I think of the differences for me? I think they're two completely different things, and I use them accordingly. I don't know. If I want an acoustic piano sound, I'll use an acoustic piano on the song. If I want an electric piano sound, I'll use an electric piano sound on the song. They both have their purposes. It's like saying acoustic guitar versus electric guitar, right? Maybe you have a song you want a more acoustic guitar feel. Maybe it gives you a certain emotion or tone that you want, and then other times you want a more aggressive sound with an electric guitar. It's the same thing. They're two instruments with transferable skills, that's for sure, but they have different purposes. Ah, I remember it. People say practicing on real keys is more beneficial than keys with a faulty touch. It's not true. This is why I say it's really hard to give somebody advice if you don't know what their story is, you don't know what their goals are, you don't know what they're trying to do. Now, if your goal is to play full time on an acoustic piano, or own an acoustic piano in your house, or perform on an acoustic piano, or record on an acoustic piano, or compose on an acoustic piano, you should probably practice on an acoustic piano. It makes sense. If that is not your goal, then there is no reason why recording and practicing on a keyboard would be not beneficial because of its quote unquote faulty touch. It's the same as playing an acoustic guitar versus an electric guitar versus a guitar with wire strings or a guitar with nylon strings. It's the same thing as playing on a skateboard versus skating on a longboard versus skating on a cruiser. Like, it depends on what your goals are. If you want to be the next Tony Hawk and you want to learn how to do kick flips and all that stuff, maybe you shouldn't practice on a cruising longboard because it's very long, it's very big, it's very heavy, and you're not going to be able to do very many tricks on it. However, if those aren't your goals and you simply want to skate, then there's absolutely nothing wrong with practicing on a longboard. Same applies to piano, acoustic and electric. If acoustic piano isn't your goal, then there's really no need to practice on it. For example, I don't know how to read music, right? I don't know how to write music. I don't know how to read music because it simply is not important to me in my path, right? I have like over 200 songs out. I go on tour regularly. I perform shows. I have a bunch of streams where I'm writing and arranging stuff. Writing being, I guess, a wiggly term right now, in this case. But I don't need to read music because I never play anybody else's music. So reading music becomes very important if you want to play with other musicians or you want to play somebody else's song. You want to know, hey, what notes did they play in that song? Well, I can pull it up online and now I can read it and play it as I'm reading. Since I only play my own music, um, and most of it is through MIDI, I never learned how to read music. It wasn't a priority to me. But I think that acoustic piano and electric piano, keyboard, what I'm playing right now, both have very, very important uses in music. In my music, I should speak personally, in my music. But I feel that same way about clarinets, oboes, accordions, even a bagpipe maybe, glockenspiel, xylophone, drums, saxophone. Anything I feel like occupies a very specific space in music. So obviously right now I'm playing with a piano sound. It mimics the sound of an acoustic piano for the purposes of this stream. I'm playing songs like Spring Street that if you've heard the recorded version of Spring Street, you would know that it's recorded with an acoustic piano. So it sounds accurate. But if I were going to play Not on My Watch, which is a song that uses Rhodes piano, having a keyboard in front of me is beneficial to that. Because if I didn't have this, I would have to play it in piano, which is fine. It would have the same notes for sure, but this is not what I recorded on the album. So it's nice to have the sound options of a keyboard, right? To be able to switch between different sounds. There are certain sounds in certain songs that I only like in certain sounds. There are certain songs that are recorded in certain sounds. I feel like I'm beating a dead horse a little bit, but I used to play Over the Pond only in that weird saxophone sound. Some of you that were like in older streams will probably remember that. You ever care if I sample this? I would prefer that you didn't. I have not given my consent for anybody sampling my streams, so please don't do it. I actually had to copyright strike somebody because it was really weird. They asked, and I said no. This was back when I was doing Instagram streams. They asked, and I said no, and then they did it anyway, and then they had to copyright strike me. Like, made me the bad guy. Something that I actually have some videos on. I don't know if how many of my videos you've watched, kind viewer, but what I used to do is make, because I went through that whole Lustream phase. I don't know if you listened to Lustream, but it was all like beat oriented, and it was because at the time sampling is such a like weird subject for me specifically in Instagram streams. I've gone into like full 2 hour long talks about sampling, the ethics of sampling, skill in sampling, and whatnot. A lot of people like to sample. I'm not casting you under this umbrella, chill. So just know that none of this is directed at you. But a lot of people like sampling now because of the popularity of lo-fi hip-hop. A lot of people like those like study beat YouTube channels. So that's a lot of people's intro into production, because I will say this as lightly and as delicately as possible. It's less labor intensive. Taking a jazz sample and chopping it up and making a beat out of it is less labor intensive than making and arranging and writing an entire song. And so I wanted for my what's it called? For my mixtape, I wanted to have that jazzy sampled feel. And I guess it was just a benefit to me, or a testament to my previous years in developing skill on piano, that I was just able to make my own jazz samples. So I would go in and I have a single. Well, it was a full EP. I have an EP called Signals, and there's a song on it called Winter Heart. I have a lot of bouncy, jazzy stuff like that. Love letters. actually sampled that in a beat. That's one of them. And it just keeps looping that. And so I think that it just ended up lining up well with me that I had already kind of developed skill in piano. So when it came time that I wanted to make like really sample oriented stuff, all it was me playing one of my jazzier tracks. All it took was me playing one of my jazzier tracks and then like detuning it and putting like a fake filter on it to make it sound like it was old, some old vinyl thing that was sampled. But they are essentially completely original full cloth tracks. And I encourage people to do that, but there is this weird way, there's this weird what's the word? Privilege that comes with that, right? I can't tell everybody, hey, make your own samples because some people are just getting into music now, right? The only reason I can make my own samples is because I have years of experience making full songs. So it's easy for me to make an entire song and then sample that song to make an entirely new song. I have a bunch of videos giving pretty much tutorials on it. In fact, if you go to my Instagram, I think it's like 2 videos ago, there's a video of me just making an entire jazzy sample and then sampling it to make this kind of wonky beat. Maybe you could learn something from watching that. But my point is, not everybody has those resources. The resources just being skill and knowledge of how to make a song. But they want to make something that sounds like Madlib or something. And I feel like the problem with sampling is that a lot of us grew up on hip hop samples. I grew up on hip hop samples. If you're listening to hip hop now, you're probably growing up on hip hop samples. Most hip hop isn't nearly as original as you'd think it is. Some of these hip hop records have like a songwriting list of like 30 people on it, but not because 30 people were in the studio, just because 30 people contributed sample wise or production wise. Goodbye, kid. Thank you for being in the stream. Appreciate you. Um, yeah. Very, very sample heavy. But the weird thing about that is music was kind of like the Wild West back then. Clearing samples was a way different game back then than it is now. And so you could have somebody just rap over basically what is the Family Matters intro theme, and it would be whatever. Copyright law and a lot of things have changed now. So now when you hear a record get sampled, for example, I did an official remix for a Lion Babe track. I don't know if you guys know Lion Babe, amazing duo, but I won't get into the particulars and actual numbers and how much money was exchanged, but I will say that Lion Babe track features a lot of artists and also features a vocal melody and a lyrical arrangement that is from a Pet Shop Boys track, which is a very old group from like the 80s, very synth poppy stuff. I'm not going to get into their origin stories or their thing, but it did sample them, not even in music, but they sang it, like an homage, like a reference. And Pet Shop Boys got cut a check for that. They are making some of the money from that track because of the reference being so strong. So that being said, things are a little bit different now. People are getting paid what they're owed. And so in light of that, I just try to tell people be careful when sampling things, right? Maybe if you're just making something for you and your friends or whatever, something to go on your SoundCloud, maybe that's okay. Maybe it's okay. Even if you look through my Instagram, I haven't put these songs on SoundCloud or Spotify because I'm not crazy, but on my Instagram, sometimes I'll take like funny videos I see on Twitter and I'll like mix them and cut them together and make like a fun little like beat out of it just for fun, just for somebody to see and maybe laugh. But I mean, when it gets into like releasing stuff on Spotify or you're putting it on SoundCloud and you're starting to get bigger, I just say be careful as possible. Like Chill was very, very. I'm actually surprised Chill was this nice and sophisticated as to come into a stream and ask me live in person, hey, is it okay if I sample this one day, and get an actual answer, because most people Chill, and I don't know if you need me to tell you this, but most people are just going to steal my music anyway and not ask at all. Either because they know the answer will be no and they don't want to be refused, or because they think it's not illegal. They think it's not theft if they like slow it down and reverse it or something. So A weird lesson in copyright law that no one asked for. And now we're in the final 5 minutes. Guys, we do need to go over news. I have a show coming up on New Year's Eve. I'm playing on New Year's Eve in Los Angeles, in Chinatown, to be specific. At a venue called Chewing Foil. Should be fun. I haven't worked on New Year's in a while, but I think this will be an okay show. So if you live in LA, I'll probably see you there. I ain't trying to get a lawsuit. Yeah, might as well ask for permission directly. You seem like a nice person. I don't know if you have any beats out or what you're doing, but if you ever need any help outside of just sampling my music, if you ever need any help, maybe you need me to send you some samples. I have a bunch of drum samples. That I've just collected over the years. Most of them are bad. Heads up, most of them are pretty trash, but if you need any help or anything, let me know. Because I know that especially when you're just trying to get into something, it can be intimidating and people can be very unhelpful. And I don't want you to be in any way discouraged by that. So I don't know how long you've been making beats, but if there's anything I can do, let me know. Back to news. I'm playing a show on New Year's Eve in Chinatown. It's going to be great. If you live in LA, I'll see you there. If you don't, I obviously will not. I have 2 new albums out. One of them is called Ego Death. The other one is called Quick Breath. I supplied vocals for most of it and production for almost all of it. Every song but one is produced by me. But it features artists like Mia Gladstone, Young Skirt, Abby Press, Only Tom. It's a regular who's who of Omni's friends in Los Angeles. And New York, actually. And Texas, I guess. Why? I cast a wide net. Anyways, you can hear those on Bandcamp, SoundCloud, Spotify, iTunes, Apple Music, Google Play Music, Amazon MP3, Tidal, Groove, Deezer, Pandora, Napster, and YouTube. If you use any of those platforms, we're on YouTube right now, so I know you use at least one of them. That is where those 2 albums are. As far as merch, I am currently working on my new merch with the man that is going to be designing it. I'm pretty excited about it, but it is going to be a little while longer because the holidays, and I try not to bother people on Christmas, so I'm giving him a little break before I bother him with all of the particulars and logistics of getting this merchandise out there. As far as streams, guys, it's Friday, which means that this is the last stream of the week. I won't be back here until Monday. For those of you that are unfamiliar with the streaming schedule, it's every weekday at 9 a.m. I stream for an hour, guys. It's about 10 o'clock, which is why this one is coming to a close. But if you ever wonder when I'm streaming, if it's a weekday, I'm on at 9 a.m. I don't know what time of day that is for you guys. You say favorite Lewis Coke song, but I know you mean Lewis Cole song. I don't have any favorites of anything, but let's name some. Actually, I can't even name a lot of Lewis Cole songs. Isn't that whack? I went and saw him in concert. Here's the thing about Lewis Cole. I just stream his music. He has a song that goes, "Do Things Different" or something like that. Doing Things. That's a beautiful, beautiful song. Doing Things. He has a song called Things. Is that true? I don't know. He put out an album. I think it's called Things or All the Things or something like that. That entire album, cover to cover, is my jam. He also has a lot of little loosies and singles here and there, but that one is my jam. That whole album. I know he has an album prior to that. I think I prefer the latter one. It's like 11 a.m. for your stream for me, says Endless, which I guess is better, especially if you're not a particularly early riser. Time is the name of the album. Thank you. I know. I'm really bad with names. That's the thing. I listened to Chick's Tape, right? If you got the notification for this, stream on Instagram, I featured a song by Tory Lanez from Chick's Tape. I can't tell you what the name of that song was. I'm really bad with song titles, but when I hear them, I know them, you know? I'm sorry. Anyways, yeah, the news is 2 new albums out. They're on all streaming platforms, so check those out. I'm playing on New Year's Eve here in Los Angeles. The merch is coming in the early part of next year, which we're almost in, by the way. Happy early New Year to anybody who's not coming into any more streams before then. Also, the streams happen here on YouTube every weekday morning at 9 a.m. This is gonna do it. I'm gonna play Hush Dream. Sorry. It's called Hush Hour, which is the song that I always close the stream with. If you've never heard this song, I have a music video for it. It's only about a minute and a half. So check it out if you get a chance. Thank you again, everybody, for coming in the stream. Thank you for being respectful to me and polite to each other. We have a few really nice people. I'll probably see you soon. Chill. You seem like a chill person, and usually chill people are frequenters of the stream. But other than that, enjoy your guys' weekend. And if I don't see you before the holidays, I hope you enjoy your holidays as well. I'm gonna go make some breakfast. Abba.